Okay, I am recording this with two cameras, one over my head and one to the side, in the hopes that I can make this far clearer in what to do. Basically, what I'm going to be asking you guys to do is to translate your rough sketch, if you can see that here, into a 1/4 inch to the foot scale drawing of your room. This details all of the dimensions that we had for the room, if you remember from before, the drawing that I did. And what I have set up here is a number of things. I've got my architect scale, and I've got a black fine line marker, and I have my lead pointer and a pencil to do quick erasers with, given the fact that the kneaded eraser may or may not work real well for that kind of thing. So basically what I'm going to do is make sure that my lead is good and sharp to begin with. There we go. And we're going to start off at the beginning. We know that we have a wall that is 18'6" and a wall that is 12. So we're going to start off with that and basically create this rectangle and then pare out this dormer on this side over here. So anyway, to begin with, I'm going to make sure that I have my architect scale positioned to the right size, and that would be the 1/4 inch equals a foot scale here. And hopefully you guys can see this pretty well. On this scale, 18 is right here. And if I wanted to do 18'6", this is your 0 mark. This is a full foot, and so that would be 6 inches or half of a foot. So from that point to that point is now 18'6". So I can bring my straight edge up. You may be doing this with your T-square, and I want you to draw a line across from point to point. That creates a line that represents that wall. Alright, so now we need to establish a line on this side that represents the 12 foot. You can see 12 here, and there's 0. So if we plant a line or a point there, and draw a line across, we now have, and this is, if you wanted to be technical about it, I'll draw a little line out here. So this is north, this is south, this is east and west, according to the layout of the building. So then, to approximate the rectangle that we have here, all I need to do very quickly is to draw a line down this side and a line across the bottom, like so. Complete that line down there. And now we have a rectangle that corresponds to the rectangle of the room. Of course, we do not have the dormer pared out yet. Grab another piece of tape here to tape this thing down with, because it keeps wanting to escape. Okay? Alright, so let me bring it back down here again. Alright, so we know that the dormer itself is 4 feet over from this wall right here. So in order to find that, we again use our architect scale. And this is 4. So if we place that 4 right on that mark, this dash right there would be the corner inside wall of the dormer. So we can draw that out there. We know that the dormer itself is 3 foot wide and 2 foot 6 inches deep. So move that off to the side. 3 is right here between 4 and 2. So we go down to 0 and add that line. And then we're going to do the line that represents the 2 foot 6 out from the inside wall. So that's 2 foot and half of that mark is 6. So now, if I position a line there, and here, I now have the position of the dormer, or the portion that sticks out from the house. Just tore my tape off there, but that would be this thing. You'll notice on this drawing that this wasn't proportional. That doesn't matter because I was only using this for dimensions to translate to this drawing. So then, using an eraser, I can quickly erase this line. And that line there. And so I now have the basic outline of the interior of the walls. The walls themselves they have a thickness. So a wall is usually like a 2x4 with a piece of drywall on either side. So your general wall thicknesses vary from 4 to about 5 inches. I'm going to just position mine at 6. Exterior walls are generally a bit thicker because of siding and things like that, so I'm going to make that about 8 here. I'm going to make this wall here about 6. This wall here about 6. You can see I'm adding little dash marks just outside of my lines. Now this is important stuff because you may find yourself at some point in the future having to do a layout of a room or something like this in order to figure out, well, how long is a wall, how thick is a wall, those kinds of things. So I'm going to draw a line across here and a line across here. This is the front exterior wall of the house. This is the wall on the north side that goes into the attic. This is the exterior wall on the outside, which is actually not an exterior wall. This area over here has some thickness to it, and it's deceptive. The garage, or the project room downstairs, is actually quite a bit wider than the upstairs, and that's because if you look at the house from the front, it has that gambrel roof, and the gambrel roof has a tendency to, pinch in the top a bit. Alright, so now the next thing we need to do is find out where the doors are. So we have a door that's located here at 6 feet over from this interior wall, and it's a 28-inch door. Okay, so using my architect scale, I'm going to position that at the, if you can see that right there, that's the 6-foot mark. I'm going to put a line there. That represents the inside of the door. The door itself is 28 inches, so how much is that? Well, that is, if this is 2, and that's 3 right there, then it's just a little beyond the 3, or 2'4". Okay, so that is where the door is located going into the den. Now these walls continue into the den. There's another room here. And actually there's a closet in each corner. We're not going to worry about that right now. We also have a door in this corner, which is an access door going into the attic. And that is 1'6" from the inside of this wall, and it's 2 foot wide. So, with my architect scale very quickly, I find 1'6" right there, and then 2 feet for the door itself. It's a very small door, but it's just a little access hatch to get into the attic, which is just to the north of the room. Okay, the last thing that I need to do is to locate these doors in the front. And we know that they are 6 foot 6 inches off of this wall. So in order to do that, I'm going to position my architect scale here. I'm going to give myself 6 inches and then 6 feet. That positions the door there. I know the doors themselves are both 36 inches side by side, dual doors, so that would be the other side of it at 6 feet. Now, I'm not going to erase this because there's actually a wall that the door is in, unlike this one, which I'm showing that there is a hole in the wall where the door opens into the den. This one over here also is a door itself, but the wall continues, so I'm not going to erase that one either. All right, so the only other thing to do is the window, which is located here. In order to do that, you just draw a line through the center of it that represents the window. And I know that the window itself is a 28-inch window, so that would be 2 and 4 right there. So I can draw that back across like that. Okay, so that represents the window. We have the walls drawn in. And now, the next thing to do would be to go ahead and shade in the walls. So I probably will stop this, do that, and then I will show you the dimensioning and the position of the doors. Okay, I have gone ahead and shaded in the walls and added the dimensions. The dimensions correspond to the dimensions that I took off from the sketch originally, and I did them in the same color ink just because it has a tendency to make things a lot clearer. So let me talk to you about dimensioning things and points where you leave off dimensioning on purpose, just for the sake of making the drawing a bit clearer. Okay, for instance, to begin with, we knew that the room itself was 18'6" wide by 12 feet deep. There's no reason to measure this wall again at 12 feet. What we're looking at over here, of course, is the fact that the dormer is positioned 4 foot out from this wall here and is an additional 3 feet wide and 2'6" deep. We don't need this dimension because of the fact that we can very easily take 4 and 3, that's 7, and subtract it from 12, and then we know this wall must be 5. In cases where you've got a difference of measurements one side to the other, you have to put in both. So in this particular case, this wall is 6'6", the door is 6, then that takes 6 and 6 is 12, that leaves 6, or rather 6'6" and 6 is 12'6", that leaves 6 feet. Okay? Again, with this wall over here, this one here, we don't dimension that one because we know that 6 feet and 2'4" is 8'4", and that would leave 10'2" for this wall from here to here. Okay? 6 and 2'4" is 8'4", which leaves 10'2". So that's the reason why we don't add these dimensions, because it would just tend to confuse things. You'll notice that sometimes you do cute little things like positioning dimensions for this wall outside of the main room, again, so as not to crowd things in here. Same thing here. I positioned this dimension from here to here out here so as not to crowd this corner. You try to, as best you can, make sure that you don't have too much crowding going on. So it's a delicate act that you have to kind of go through. And then the last thing I would ask you to do, of course, is to give yourself a couple rule lines down here and then say plan view 1/4 inch equals 1 foot scale. That way, if you share this drawing with anybody else, they know immediately what scale it's in, and if they happen to have one of these, they can very easily look up other things. But if they don't, all of the dimensions for the drawing are there. I'm going to shortly here show you another example where you would maybe want to do a large-scale drawing on a big wall someplace. And so I'll come up with a way to do that very much the way that we're doing this right now. All right? All for now. See you guys in the next video.